I'm going to take you all with me on a trail. I've had something in mind and I've been at the park for the last couple of hours. So sorry if the video is like bumpy. I'm literally like walking on an actual trail now. But I've been thinking about the concept of human suffering, right? I mean, a part of like Buddhist philosophy is that life always has suffering. And that's not to be like doom and gloom, but it's just to remind us all that like you can be on your path, you can do all of the right things, you can say all the right things, you can act in the right way and mindset. But because everybody else has free will and everybody else, including us, is human, sometimes we accidentally mess up. And sometimes we project things on other people. Sometimes we're a little rough to other people because we're not paying attention to what's inside of us. And that inevitably causes suffering either for us or for other people unknowingly. But the biggest problem is that we inherently take suffering really personal. And we assume that whenever somebody upsets us, they're doing it on purpose, or we assume that they kind of have like negative intentions on it. And I think if we take our ego out, we can kind of learn how to not take suffering so personal. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. So what I've learned from personal experience is that we have to take our egos out of our suffering. And a lot of times what we do as humans is we try to like rationalize with our suffering. We try to say like, oh, well, that was bad, but it shouldn't have been as bad, and it was worse for me than it was somebody else, and blah, blah, blah. We try to put all these negotiation tactics on our actual suffering. So whether or not it should have happened, if it should have happened that way, if it should have happened less, more, whatever, somebody else deserved it and we didn't. And we shouldn't be rationalizing with our suffering. We shouldn't be sitting down at a table and negotiating with our suffering. We shouldn't be saying that we are worthy or less worthy of somebody else, right? Because all of those ideas are actual fallacies. Like, that's not something that's going to help us get over it, and it's not something that's going to help us become a better person. And what I mean by this is we don't want to sit down and have an actual conversation with our suffering. We do not want to let it talk over us, to let it continue, to give it more narrative, to feed the story, feed the negativity, feed all of the thing that's happening. We need to nip it in the butt, because a lot of times as humans, we like to overthink things, and we like to give things voices that don't deserve voices, like our suffering and all of the bad things that are happening. And we sit down, we invite it to our table, we pull out the chair for them, like we sit down, have these hour-long conversations, or year-long, or sometimes people have lifelong conversations with their suffering, and they connect to it. It becomes like this deep, integral part of who they are and what they want and what they feel like they deserve but they never got. Or it becomes like almost their own story, instead of just being like a part or a telling or a partial instance in that retelling. Like, we make our suffering, we make the bad things that have happened to us our entire lives. And you've met these people that no matter what you do, it's always a negative thing. They always are like, it could be worse, it's a lot of times it's in the workplace, right? Like, we see these people that like, no matter what happens, it's always something negative. It's always something that can't be done, and that other people are stupid and all this other stuff. But it's like, where does that get them, right? Like, they're still at that job like 40 years later because they refuse to like move because it's comfortable. Like, that suffering is comfortable for them. Or maybe they're in a situation where they can't move. But I'm a huge like advocate for like, if you're stuck in a situation and it can't get better, you should move. You should do something instead of just like being complacent and staying in that suffering. And right? When I say nip it in the butt, I don't mean to like suppress it. I don't mean to ignore it. I don't mean to invalidate it, right? Because there is suffering that should be validated. Like, you should be validated for going through something that was really, really difficult that you didn't deserve. Your emotion should be validated when you have been wronged, when you are upset. Even if you're right or wrong in that situation, your feelings should always be observed, and they should be validated by you, especially if you don't do it on because you do it for everybody else, but you never do it for yourself. And you have to learn to do that as a form of self-love. It's so important. It's not would be good to have. It is a necessity. It's a foundation for taking care of yourself, that you learn to do this. So anyways, what I'm saying is, you don't want to suppress it. You don't want to ignore it. You want to acknowledge it, but you don't want to give it a story. You don't want to give it a severance package. You don't want to give it any more feed than necessary. You want to have boundaries with it. You want to say, yes, you're here. I understand that you're here. You're here for a reason, and you're here to help me, and I appreciate that. And now I know next time what to look forward to so that it doesn't happen again, but that should be it. We shouldn't be inviting it to come to work with us every day. We shouldn't be tucking it into bed at night whenever we get in there. We shouldn't be putting it in the back seat of our car when we're going somewhere. I mean, we really just attach to our suffering all the time. We attach the stories behind our suffering. And at some point, we have to realize, like, this isn't a thing that we need to carry with us all the time. That our presence, our love, and our respect are something that we should have with us all the time, but we shouldn't be just carrying around suffering like that. It's not, our human bodies were not made to carry that kind of weight. Like, that is why we have so much anxiety as a culture. And not only because of, like, the societal things that we've done to put all of this pressure on ourselves, but we carry it ourselves because we don't know how to get rid of it. We don't know how to dispel it. Now that I'm out of breath, let me focus my camera, but I'm done ranting. I just wanted to give you something to chew on, something to think about. Because I really do, that is a scary spider. I do think that if we all listen to what we're upset about, and we really took the time to validate our emotions, that we wouldn't be so caught up in our suffering. But it is something to think about next time. Whenever something happens to you, can you give that away? Can you reframe it? Can you think about it in a better way? How can you not bring that suffering home with you? How can you leave it in the woods?